72nd club founded in the world. Our invocation today is going to be led by Tish Cornell, Marketing Specialist at Common Sense Credit Union, and the pledges will be led by Mandy Clayton, Director of Development and Foundation at Lamar Institute of Technology. Tish?
Hi, everyone. Heavenly Father, we are thankful for this day that has been given to us and for the chance to meet as a Rotary family. We are grateful for the opportunities that come with the blessings of a new day, for the lessons that will be learned, and for the challenges that will elevate us to a greater understanding of our purpose. We ask that you guide us in our service and keep our hearts faithful to the guideposts that align us with trust, fellowship, and service above self. Help us to listen to one another intently with the purpose of bettering ourselves and our community. May we speak in a way that draws others to peace and understanding. Let us show grace to one another and celebrate our differences and individual gifts while coming together for our common goal to help humankind. We ask that you keep us strong and healthy in body, mind, and spirit, so that we may humbly carry out our acts of service to the best of our abilities. Father, we ask that you guide our leaders who make daily decisions that affect us. May their decisions be motivated by what is ethical, truthful, and beneficial for all concerned. In your name we pray. Amen.
Thank you, Tish. That was beautiful. Can everybody join me in the pledges, please? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And the Texas flag. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to Texas, one state, God, one and indivisible.
And I'm excited to introduce a Rotarian of the Day today. We have Dan Jeans, Executive Director at the Howe Center. So take it away, Dan. I know he's here.
Yeah, Dan, you're muted. Yeah, okay.
How about that? Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah. Thanks for having me today as Rotarian of the Day. Glad everybody's here. Our golf tournament is usually the spring of every year, and we had postponed it, and we thought about canceling it altogether, but after much support from the community as far as people wanting to get out and do something that they can do and still practice social distancing, what better way than golf? I'm not a golfer, I'm a hacker, but I can drive a mean golf cart, and we have taken measures this year to implement the protocol to have a good time. We will still have a great raffle. We'll be delivering meals during play this year. And Jackie had told me, I don't know if you can still see me or not, but Jackie had told me to make a little sign. So I've got a little sign made up, and it says, the HOW Center, the HOWcenter.org, the HOWcenter.org. I traded keeping the grandkids for my daughter to help me make that sign. So it's important that you get the sign. The HowCenter.org. Everything you need to know about us is on our website. We also have Facebook, which is the HOW Center. We encourage you to follow us on Facebook. You know, everyone in this town passes through an intersection and sees somebody on the side of the road. We've offered a solution to these guys for the last almost 30 years. We incorporated in 2001, and what we are is we're a service provider to people with drug and alcohol addictions. We have a residential men program, and we also have referral services through different assets in the community to help these people get off the street. We've been doing it successfully with God's blessings since 2001. This is God's house. This is not Dan Jeans's place of business. This is where God has me today. And if you want to help us, and you're not a golfer like me, we have hole sponsorship, but most importantly, a couple of things that we started doing a couple of years ago. We have first responder team sponsorships, where we go out to all the first responders in our community, because we're the largest residential men's sober living home throughout Southeast Texas. From Mobile, Alabama, all the way to Deer Park, Texas, we're the biggest one, the most established. A lot of people don't even know who we are. I've been here for 12 years, and still I tell people who I'm with, and they say, how, like in furniture? They don't understand HOW. It stands for honesty, open-minded, and the willingness. And what we're asking for you today is your willingness to support us in our cause. 100% of the funds will go directly into helping these guys. When someone comes off the street, a lot of us may not know exactly what that entails, but if you show up on our door without any kind of ID or anything, there's a process that we have to go through. And just to get a man stable enough and established enough with proper ID costs us about $100 a man. And so that's how we offset those costs. We don't take government fees for our services. We do take, the only grants that we take is for keeping our building erect and in good working order. All of our utilities and everything like that is through donations or self-support of the guys getting the job and coming back and getting on their feet. We have banks that work with us to help them establish budgets, because what we want them to do is be productive, useful citizens once again and overcome their addiction problem. We appreciate your support. If you can help us, it'd be tremendous. And we're playing at Babes of Harrius this year, and we're going to have a great time. And if you want to support one of the first responder teams, just please let us know. We're trying to do all pre-registration online, so we don't have to do them in person when we get there. But we will take protocols, and we will register on site on September the 19th, and hope you're there. Thanks.
Thank you, Dan. I'm so excited to hear about all the good things that you do for the underserved people in our community. And best of luck with your golf course, golf course.
Thank you very much. And you know, our doors and our phone numbers are open 24/7. We don't go to bed. It is our disease that these guys suffer from doesn't take a holiday. And if you ever want to come check us out, a lot of you guys had come by here before. And we got some exciting things happening in the fall of the year along with the golf tournament. We built a memorial wall, and we'll be looking for that on the news as well. Thanks.
Thank you, Dan. Now, just to report a little bit on some past club business. There were a few Rotarians that volunteered at Southeast Texas Food Bank Project with the United Way last Thursday. So thank you to those who were able to help out there. And since we want to continue to do little projects if we can, if you know of anything that's going on, please notify Jackie, and that way we can get the word out to the people in our club. Now, to introduce our speaker, we have Hannah Latoul, Sales and Marketing Specialist with Beaumont Independent School District. Hannah?
Hi, everyone. It is my honor to introduce today's speaker. Dr. Shannon Allen is within her second year serving as the Superintendent of Schools at the Beaumont Independent School District. She's uniquely qualified to serve this community as she's a Beaumont native and a graduate of BISD. Her background includes 23 years of experience in many capacities, such as teacher, principal, and administrator, all during her time at BISD. Over the years, her passion and commitment to the students in the district and the entire community has continued to increase. In her tenure as superintendent, she's navigated the district through the disaster of Tropical Storm Imelda and now the COVID-19 pandemic. Today, she's going to share the district's reentry plan, what school's going to look like as we return to campuses, and what we as a community can do to support the district during this unprecedented time. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Shannon Allen.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I am so honored to have this opportunity to again present to the Rotary team. You know, last time I presented was in October, and it was following Tropical Storm Imelda. This year, I'm presenting again following another disaster. So I hope and pray that next year, when I present to the Rotary, it is not behind our plans or anything related to a disaster. But I'm so happy to have this opportunity to share with the team today. I do have several team members present besides Hannah, who's in our media and community relations department. I do have several team members here. Ms. Jenny Angelo, she's on. She may be able to help respond to questions. She's our Executive Director of Curriculum and Instruction. We have Ms. Anitra Cheatham, maybe they can wave. She is our Chief Innovation Officer. I saw her present, as well as Ms. Denise McLean. And Ms. McLean is new to our district. She is the new Director of Community and Media Relations. So we're excited. I'm excited to have team members present today. But again, thank you for this opportunity. So I will dive into the presentation. I will share that we educate 16,163 students. That's how many students we have enrolled currently in BISD. And in order to serve our students, we are working together in collaboration with the entire community to create an inclusive environment of academic excellence that supports the diverse needs of all learners. That is our vision for our organization. And the way we're going to get there is to inspire and prepare all students for lifelong success by providing an exemplary education in a safe learning environment. This is what we work toward every single day for all of our students in the district. Now, before I dive into our reentry plan and how we are educating our students in the midst of a pandemic, I want to share and highlight a few positive facts about BISD that occurred despite the challenges of last year. And I will tell you, last year was something that no one ever expected. We didn't expect to begin the year as we did after having such a great start and end the year the way we ended it. But despite those challenges, we still made significant improvements and gains in several areas that I'd like to briefly highlight. And one of those is second grade reading performance. You know, I shared last year, you know, what our goals, what our targets were last year. And we were focused on, and will continue to remain focused on, student reading performance. Despite the challenges of not actually completing the school year, we saw improvements at every single elementary school in second grade reading performance from the beginning of the year to the middle of the year. So I applaud our elementary schools and the work that they did last year despite the challenges with our students. Beaumont United High School, totally almost 100% remodeled. You know, I have a little snapshot of a couple of the classroom spaces, but Tropical Storm Imelda severely damaged that campus. So much so that we ended up closing the middle school campus to relocate our ninth graders to another location because we couldn't utilize the entire campus. But that entire campus has been renovated. So when our students come back to school, they will have a beautiful campus to come back to. We created a new program with Peach MacArthur. We are expanding Peach MacArthur to a K-8 campus as a result of Tropical Storm Imelda and just redesigning some of our schools and creating new innovative programs to meet the needs of the students and the community. And last June, despite all of the challenges that we faced, we graduated 1,050 students from the Beaumont Independent School District. We graduated our first graduating class from Early College High School. We had 46 students, many of which earned not only a high school diploma, but they earned an associate's degree from LIT. So the mission and the purpose of our organization was fulfilled despite the challenges that we faced this past school year. A few other facts about BISD. With our finances, we are still doing a phenomenal job. We received a superior rating on the Texas Education Agency's Financial Integrity Rating System of Texas. We're continuing to receive the highest marks based on how we handle our finances. During COVID-19, I'm proud that we were able to continue to compensate our employees during the pandemic. When you see a situation where people are losing jobs, losing opportunities, we were able to fully pay our staff during the entire time, even though work hours were modified. During the pandemic, you see this snapshot of our child nutrition team. We served over 257,000 meals to students throughout the entire pandemic. That was a massive feat. And we did it, our team did it. They worked extremely hard, making certain that our students in our community were still fed. And then the last highlight I want to share is we have attracted over 200 new teachers in BISD. You know, in a time where there's a shortage of teachers, I'm so proud that this year we are over 96% filled with our teaching staff, which is the highest percentage that we have had in a great number of years, with over 200 new teachers added to the district to educate our children. So there are more teachers in classrooms than there have been in the last several years. So I'm excited about those facts. So for 2021, you know, we didn't finish the work last year. We were interrupted throughout the year with the pandemic. So we are continuing to maintain the focus for 2021. And one of our priorities is to increase student attendance rates, or right now, increase student engagement via virtual learning. If we increase student attendance rates, and when we come back face-to-face, get our students in school, we will increase the percentage and number of students reading on grade level. That is our priority. It will continue to be a priority in our district. If we increase the percentage of students reading on grade level, we will reduce the number of campuses that are low performing and increase the number of A and B rated campuses by the Texas Education Agency. And by doing so, we will break the cycle of poverty in our community and attract families back into the district. So we're going to continue our focus, which was the same one that we had for the 2021 school year, this school year. Is it going to be a challenge? Yes, it is. The work that we're doing is so different, vastly different from anything that any of us have ever done. But it doesn't change the fact that every child deserves to go to a high-performing school. Every child deserves to read on grade level. We need our kids in school in our community to impact the entire Beaumont, Texas. Not just BISD, but we do recognize our role and responsibility in the Beaumont Independent School District to impact and make our Beaumont community better. So we have worked for months and months on planning for August 17th, which was 2 days ago. How are we going to bring our kids back to school? What is school going to look like? This is just a snapshot of our transition team, which started, as I stated, months ago, planning and preparing, researching, reviewing guidance, following through, surveying staff, team members, so we can make the best possible decisions for our students as they started school. And I will tell you, this has been the greatest challenge that any of us have ever faced. How do we keep our students safe? How do we keep our teachers safe? How do we educate our students in a different way, in a new normal, knowing that our kids need so much? Our kids, for many of our kids, our schools are the hub for them. This is where they get their meals. This is where they get their education, their safe, their comfort, their steady, consistent environment. So this team worked tirelessly to prepare our reentry plan, which is posted on our website, which outlines all of our plans for reentry. Now, I'm not going to share all of those plans. It's a 45-page document. I'm not going to go through all of those details. I'm just going to highlight a few key areas, and then I hope if we have time, answer and respond to questions that the team has. But I did want to recognize this team because we had administrators, teachers, we had a curriculum team specialists, we had my leadership team, we had a host of individuals who have worked to prepare students for the first day of school. Now, as we developed the plan, one of the things that we did was we launched several surveys. We wanted feedback and input from our stakeholders on various pieces of our plan. So we launched what were called thought exchanges. We launched several throughout the summer and the past few weeks, where we were asking for feedback on our plans, what parents and staff's thoughts were about what we were doing. This is just a snapshot of one of the surveys that we launched, which was, what are your questions, thoughts, and concerns regarding the reentry plan? So after we completed the plan, we presented it to our stakeholders. What were their thoughts? Well, we found something that was a thematic, I guess, a theme throughout the course of all of the thought exchanges that we launched, was that safety, of course, was a #1 concern by our parents, by our students, by our staff, our employees. So it didn't matter what type of question we were asking or what was the overarching theme. Every single survey came back to, we need to make certain that our students are safe. We need to make certain that, as you can see on this particular survey, where we had 1,054 participants. The number one thought that was shared, that students must stay home if they are ill. That particular thought came up no matter what type of survey we were extending. The number one thought was regarding student safety and parents keeping students home if they are sick, to protect other students, to protect our staff. So one of the first decisions that we made, that we received feedback on, was our instructional calendar. I'm not going to go into detail with this, but we had to make adjustments early on to our instructional calendar. We missed 47 days of instruction from the spring. So knowing that, you know, our kids need a tremendous amount of support. When you look at the academic levels of our students, 47 days would contribute greatly to our students regressing. So what we did was we kept our school start date pretty much the same. We moved it up from August 18th to August 17th. We added a few more days to the calendar, and we added weeks that are called intercession weeks in October and February. So we added extra weeks where we can actually target and focus on those students who may need additional support from the missed days of instruction during the spring. And if we need those days, which we may likely need those days, they are built in for COVID-19 recovery days, or God forbid we have another tropical storm or hurricane. We built in extra days to support makeup days for our students. So the first decision we made throughout this whole process was, what do we have control over? And we have control over the time. How are we going to utilize that time to better meet the needs of our students, to catch our students up, to add as much instructional time as we possibly could? So we made those adjustments. The second adjustment, of course, is taking advantage of the virtual opportunities that were presented by TEA. So throughout this entire process, we have been in contact on a weekly basis with the Texas Education Agency, and we have been following the guidelines, the recommendations, and the requirements from TEA. The first thing that was offered to districts was an opportunity to begin the school year virtually through a transition window. So for BISD, we took advantage of the 4-week virtual transition. So school started, our historical first day of school was Monday. And as you can see, school looked different. We opened up school without having kids physically present in our schools. The photographs that you see here were captured from Monday, where we visited campuses to ensure, to just check in on our teachers and to see what was happening. So our teachers started instruction Monday through Zoom and utilizing the platform Google Classroom to engage and interact our students. That will occur for all students until August, for the first 4 weeks of school. In-person instruction can possibly begin starting on September 14th. One of the things that we had an opportunity to take advantage of was a second 4-week period where we could remain virtual as a district. So our board approved at the previous board meeting for our district to apply to TEA to get an additional 4-week waiver, so that it is possible that students will not report to campus face-to-face. Most students will not report back to campus face-to-face until October 12th. So that's pretty much an 8-week transition window that we have the opportunity to take advantage of. We are working with the health department, and we are determining if we need to take advantage of the additional 4 weeks based on the positivity rate and the number of cases in our area. We certainly will do so. We will absolutely take advantage and extend the time that all students, or the majority of our students, are participating virtually in learning. You know, I am really and truly proud of our staff, because, you know, you only see a snapshot, but I visited, you know, several campuses over the past few days, and this is different. You know, we've had to really push the bar. We've had to stretch and grow our team and ensure that, you know, they are prepared and ready to engage and educate our students in a way that they were not prepared to do. You know, earlier in the spring, we flipped around the model really quickly, but we had a paper and pencil packet option for parents that many parents chose to take advantage of. Well, we didn't offer that option this time. Everything for these first 4 weeks of school, and possibly 8, is a virtual opportunity for kids to learn and participate. So right now, as I mentioned, we have 16,163 students currently enrolled, and of those students, 13,358 are currently registered. So we are still in the process of trying to locate and identify over 3,000 students to get them engaged in learning. So for our parents, now all students again have started virtually, and that could go on up to 8 weeks. Once that virtual period is over, parents will have the opportunity to participate in face-to-face or to continue virtual instruction. One of the things that we are required to do, and I want to make certain our community understands, we are required by the Texas Education Agency to offer a face-to-face option for students and parents 5 days a week. We are required to do so, with the exception of our high schools, and I'll talk about that in just a minute. So with that being stated, we do have in-person learning that will occur possibly no later than October 12th, unless things change, because we receive updated guidance every week. And of course, we are looking at the cases in our area. So hopefully we will get to a point where when we start that face-to-face instruction, we will be at the safest point, you know, for our students. But parents have the option, if they are not comfortable sending their students back to school face-to-face, then they can choose to remain virtual for the entire school year if they choose to. If they elect after, you know, a 9-week grading period and they want to start face-to-face, then they can, and vice versa. Once parents who have elected to start face-to-face, if they're not comfortable, then they can switch to the virtual platform. But parents have choices. Parents have options that they can choose from within which to educate their students. One of the beautiful things I guess I could say about the virtual period that we're undergoing right now is the preparation in the event that we have cases throughout the year, intermittent cases and closures due to COVID-19 throughout the year. I mean, it is highly probable that we will have to close campuses throughout the school year because cases emerge on our campuses. Just, you know, in the short period of time that we were hosting our athletics with our students participating in summer workouts, we've had cases where we've had to shut down with students having COVID-19. So, you know, parents will have to really think through and make the decision that is best for their students. But I want to reiterate, you know, we're following the guidelines and guidance that has been sent down from the Texas Education Agency. So those are the two options for parents. Now, high schools are a little bit different. We do have the option because our high schools are our largest campuses, serving the most number of students. Westbrook, I think currently on paper has about 2,300 students, and Beaumont United has 2,200 students. So for high schools only, to maximize social distancing, we can, and we have elected to develop a hybrid model for high schools. So when face-to-face instruction begins, our high school students will be grouped according to last names, and they will participate 2 days 1 week and 3 days the alternate week where they will attend school. So our high school students will not attend face-to-face on a daily basis. On alternate days, they will continue their learning via remote learning opportunities that they're currently participating in, but when the face-to-face option becomes available, they will not go they will not attend school 5 days a week. They will attend 2 days 1 week, and the following week they will attend 3 days. So we have that opportunity so that we can maximize social distancing. And of course, our high school students are more mature, and they can better take advantage of and be responsible for taking advantage of their learning and completing the remote assignments. So one of the things that, of course, was highlighted in the spring was the lack of devices that were available for the students in Beaumont. And we made a decision early last spring to put a device in every student's hand. We ordered 9,500 devices. We have purchased 9,500 additional devices so that we can reach a goal of having a one-to-one device for every single student who attends school in Beaumont ISD. We are not there yet because as we're going through this pandemic, devices are being ordered and requested across the entire nation. So we haven't received all of the devices that we've ordered. But in the interim right now, as we started school virtually, we have committed to putting a device in the hand of every family in Beaumont. We ran a report and we have a little over 10,000 families. So we have put devices in their hands. Now, our platforms work with other devices, you know, smartphones, iPads, laptops. So we're encouraging parents to utilize devices that they have If they don't have one, of course, contact the schools. We've been distributing devices for the past couple of weeks to parents and families who need them. We do have internet Wi-Fi for every single student. We were fortunate. I mean, it's just amazing that prior to COVID-19, we were the recipient of the T-Mobile Empowerment Grant, where the district received grant funds and was able to purchase a MiFi, which is a portable Wi-Fi device for all students. So we have over 18,000 MiFi devices. So every family can pick up a MiFi device for internet. And then right now we're administering one device per family. As our devices continue to come in, then we will distribute devices to every student. But it's just unfortunate that because of the demand, the devices have not all come in yet. So as soon as we get them, we will continue distributing those devices to our family members. And, you know, one of the things that, you know, our parents want to know, our community wants to know, you know, what are the safety protocols and the safety provisions that will be put in place. We are doing our very best to maximize social distancing in our classrooms. We are limiting class sizes in the elementary campuses, pre-K through 4 to 20 students, 5th grade through secondary, limiting class sizes to 25 students max per class, rearranging classroom spaces to maximize social distancing. And of course, every campus is developing their entry and exit plans for their campuses. All of our students will be required to, in grades 4 through 12, to wear face masks or face shields. That will be a requirement to keep our students and our staff safe. Students that is something that you know, parents will have to really think about when they make the decision to elect to participate in transportation. You know, we want to encourage parents, as many parents as possible, to actually bring their students to school. But if they choose to ride a bus, you know, we'll have sanitization protocols on the bus, hand sanitizer on the bus, but all students will be required to wear a face mask and or face shield when riding a bus. We will be screening, we will require that all parents screen students prior to sending them to school. Of course, everyone is familiar with or should be familiar with the COVID-19 symptoms, but parents will be responsible for screening their students. If they exhibit symptoms at school, they will be isolated, and of course, their parent or guardian contacted, and those students will not be permitted to return to school until they meet the reentry guidelines for students if they exhibit symptoms or have COVID-19. You know, one of the questions that have been asked, you know, what about visitors? Can visitors come in? Right now, our campuses will be closed to visitors, unless it's a parent, of course, or a specific situation where those parents will call in and make an appointment. But visitors will be required to wear masks and or face shields, as we all are entering any business establishments, and they will be required to follow the same reentry protocols. One of the things that, you know, we put in place and made specific steps to ensure that our sanitization protocols are in place. We have worked tremendously hard to ensure that, you know, we are cleaning frequently touch surfaces, using disinfecting sprays. We installing sneeze guards at our front counters, hand sanitizing stations throughout our classrooms, you know, posting correct signage and stickers to maximize social distancing, you know, and just a host of other protocols that we're putting in place to train our students and to keep our faculty and our students safe in the midst of COVID-19. You know, we will need the support, you know, of our students. We'll be enlisting them as is age appropriate to, you know, disinfect their workstations and their workspaces, but it's going to take a team effort, you know, in order to ensure that everyone is safe in the school building. You know, I mentioned previously about students being transported, and parents choose for their students to ride the bus. You know, we will have sanitizer on the bus and sanitize our buses after each run. Parents will be required to ensure that their students have and wear those face masks, or they will not be allowed to participate or to ride the bus. We are, of course, our child nutrition department, you know, we've set up sanitizing stations. We are serving meals right now to students. We have curbside pickup, grab and go for our students. Parents will not be allowed to visit campuses or bring lunches or meals as a result of COVID-19. We have meals being served at these locations. We started on Monday distributing meals to our students. Now, the difference is during the during the spring and summer, we were serving meals to all students ages 2 all the way up. But right now, we can only serve meals to students who are currently enrolled in BISD, but these are the locations. Parents may pick up meals, or students may pick up meals between 10 and 12:30 on a daily basis. A big question has also been about our athletics, and are we participating, are our students participating in athletics? We are following all UIL guidelines, and the guidelines currently allow for middle school and high school students to participate. They haven't started the official practices currently for our high school students. They are participating in strength and conditioning workouts. But once the season has, most of the seasons have been pushed back to a later start in September. But currently, we are still slated to play football. And some of the questions that I've been getting, what about participation, parents and families? It will be limited. We will limit the number of students participating, not students participating, but parents and fans, going to football games and athletic events to maximize social distancing. We are, again, following the guidelines and the expectations. We are working to try to live stream, some of our sporting events, especially our football games, so that parents could still be able to see the games. As a result of making certain that we are transitioning our students, getting our students to school on time, we've made adjustments to our school hours for the upcoming school year when students begin coming to school face-to-face. So we've had to make some adjustments to accommodate so that we can get all our students to school on time. And, there are so many things and so many questions that, we're still answering. We are answering questions on a daily basis. We are posting questions for parents, our teachers, who are doing a phenomenal job. But of course, they still have questions right now because we haven't brought our kids full-time back into the buildings yet. We're still discovering things and figuring out, okay, we need to make certain we address this issue or that issue. And I will say, going through this process, there has been no perfectly right or perfectly wrong answer. There's just been so many things and details to think through on a daily basis, and so many things that we've had to figure out how are we going to actually make the decision and make the best decision for our students that follows the guidelines from TEA, follows the health department and the safety guidelines. But I can tell you, the challenge has been great, especially when we've made plans and things have changed. Because I stated earlier, I'll have weekly calls with the commissioner, and things are changing on a weekly basis. So we're doing our very best to roll out, information and communicate with our stakeholders as quickly as we can, and execute, the best possible plan for the students and the children in Beaumont ISD. What can you do? Continue to support the efforts of the district, continue to give us grace. We started school Monday, and of course, there were some bumps. Okay, this is the first time any of us have ever done this. So was it perfect? Absolutely not. Did we have struggles? Yes, we had many struggles, but we also had many successes. We had so much to celebrate, and sometimes, unfortunately, we hear about the negative things that go on and the problems and the issues, but we don't hear about the successes. And we had a great many successes on Monday. And yesterday was better than Monday. And today, as I visited campuses, it's a little bit better. Our teachers are feeling better and more confident. We're connecting with more kids through our live Zoom opportunities and through the live lessons. So, one thing I would definitely ask this team to do is to support the efforts of the district. Continue to share the information that you learned today, in a positive way, and know that we are doing our best. And you know what? We're doing a good job. We're doing a good job. Use your platforms to encourage student enrollment and student engagement. If you have opportunities in your businesses and in your platforms, I mentioned earlier, we still have over 3,000 students that we're trying to connect with, that we need to actually register for school who haven't registered. So if you have a platform or an opportunity to encourage student enrollment and engagement, please continue to do so. Reading, reading, reading. That is one of our focuses, and it will continue to be our focuses. But I appreciate the support of the Rotary. You know, the Rotary has worked with Lamar University, with our nests that have been developed at several of our elementary campuses, and I can't wait till we have an opportunity for our kids to go back there. So I know the Rotary has been very supportive of reading initiatives, and I ask that you continue to do so. And lastly, of course, be an advocate for our school district. The success of our school district, a strong school district, reflects a strong community. So please, as you hear information, you know, be an advocate for BISD and the work that we're doing to educate the children in our community. Lastly, we have the Back to School portal, which has all of the information. If someone has a question, they can go to our website, www.bmtisd.com, to check in for any information regarding back to school, to pull up all the information, our reentry plans, information on our virtual platform, information on how to access what materials and supplies, just everything related to back to school is listed on the Back to School portal. And you know, our philosophy of how we educate kids, you know, I mentioned the only thing we have, one of the things we have control over is time. So our philosophy of how we educate students is every moment matters. Well, this year we added a little tag. So it was EM squared, now it's EM to the third power. Because in spite of all the challenges we've been through, we know that every moment matters even more than it did last year or the previous year. So we're continuing to maximize the time, utilize the time the best way that we can, so that we can get the best results for our students. So I know that was a lot of information. It was just a snapshot of what we are doing currently in Beaumont ISD. I don't know if I have time for questions, but I would be happy to respond to questions if it's appropriate, if there's something outstanding that a team member has that I didn't address, that you have a burning question about, that if I can address it, I certainly will.
We do have time for questions. So if you have a question for Dr. Allen, you can either ask it in the chat or you can ask it out loud.
Dr. Allen, this is Mandy from LIT. You're doing a fabulous job. I've heard other districts say that if they are doing the online component and you're able to go online if you're not in person, then you don't lose minutes or hours and have to make that up. Is that something that y'all are able to take advantage of as well?
Yes, we are required to be in school 75,600 minutes. But because we are offering face-to-face, when we offer face-to-face, if students have to flip to virtual, or if the school has to flip to the virtual platform, we will not have to make those days up. So yes, that is very true. So we have followed all of the guidance that has been issued and structured our platforms, so that if I have to close a school, let's give an example. We have an outbreak at a school, let's say King Middle School, and I don't have enough teachers, and I have to shut that school down. Well, we can flip to virtual. Once we've started face-to-face, we can pivot to virtual, and we would not necessarily have to make up all of those days, okay? So our calendar and the way our platform is organized, we can take advantage of that. But not to say that we may not have to make up some days. It just depends on the individual situation. But yes.
Awesome, thank you. You're doing a great job.
Thank you.
Dr. Allen, Robert Turner here. How you doing?
I'm great. How are you?
Fantastic. Hey, listen, is anyone exploring with the state a permanent virtual classroom model? Because we've always had students out sick for one reason or another, or short of teachers. But I'm looking at more specialty classes. If virtual was offered, that means that even if you were in a remote educational situation, you could still offer specialty classes to students, even if they were in a small school district. They wouldn't have to be part of the large school district to get violin or something that would maybe only 4 students in the whole district wants it, if it's virtual, and we can do it on a statewide basis. Is anyone talking about a model that would incorporate virtual as part of the permanent structure going forward?
Yes, sir. I mean, I think that's the direction that we're headed. We're being forced into this. The state already had their virtual option set up for any children in the state of Texas who wanted to participate in the Texas virtual school. But because every school district now has this flexibility to set up our virtual models, I do believe that we're at a point where we're not ever going back to totally the way we were in the past. And that this virtual option will forever be an option for our kids. And like you're saying, the specialty courses that students will be able to take advantage of will definitely be there. I mean, honestly, we've learned a tremendous amount in the past few months. We haven't learned everything and we're still moving forward, but I don't see us ever going back to a situation where virtual is not an option. I don't see that.
That's good. That's good. Thank you.
Dr. Allen, I know that like the DeSoto School District has looked at doing a kind of a different class where students could, you know, take classes in the evening. They could more kind of set their own schedule and their own pace. I mean, is there anything being looked at to try to modify the virtual where, you know, it becomes where, you know, if there's a student that's ahead of the rest of the class, they can keep moving forward and they don't have to wait on the rest, or, you know, and you can take the teachers that are really good at presenting and let them present, and the ones that are really good at working one-on-one, let them work one-on-one. Is there anything being looked to move toward a model like that?
Well, currently, you know, we're very flexible right now. And the way our model is currently set up is, you know, we have an ideal schedule for parents. If parents and students, you know, want to work outside the bounds of that schedule, they can, because everything that we're not doing is live or face-to-face. We do have live opportunities through Zoom on a daily basis for parents and students to take advantage of. But we're also recording those lessons and posting them in the Google Classroom. So I'm a parent or I'm a student. Let's just say I'm a student and I'm working. I need to work at night, or the parent needs to work with their child at night. They can still do so and be able to take advantage and receive credit for attendance. I think, Mr. Lee, you're talking about, you know, a whole nother model that we may get there. Right now, you know, we are worked aggressively to kind of set up the best platform that we could set up for our kids, but everything is evolving and changing. So I wouldn't say the answer is no at all, because what we're learning now is that we have to be flexible and we have to be able to meet the needs of our students. So yes, our students can work ahead, you know, and engage in more of the work if they choose to. But right now we have a platform established so that, you know, they don't have to be at that set time. This is recommended, but the lessons are recorded. The information is available for them to access at a time that best meets their schedule.
Will there be an opportunity for tutoring at different times?
Yes, you know, we don't start our tutoring until a few weeks after school begins. So students will still have the opportunity to participate in virtual tutoring sessions. Absolutely. That's a great question. Thank you.
Dr. Allen, oh,
I have a question. I don't know. Is there a raise your hand process? Am I cutting a line?
go right ahead.
Dr. Allen, my name is Crystal Fagan. We've met before. I'm the curator of education programs at AMSET. Are you guys working on an approval or screening process so people like, you know, Andy and myself can get into the classrooms at some point?
You know what, because not yet. We will have a process, but right now we are not bringing folks. I know we've had a lot of volunteers and some of our partners wanting to come in, but not yet. We will be there and have a developed process that we will communicate out when it's time. But at this point, we're not at a point where we're allowing our partners and our businesses to come in just yet, but we will.
Okay.
Thank you for asking that question, though.
Well, Dr. Allen, what's the status on the STAR testing? Do they still do that, or?
Okay, that's a great question. And currently, last year in the spring, STAR testing was waived. Currently, the only testing that has been waived has been 5th grade and 8th grade retest. So normally 5th graders and 8th graders have 3 opportunities to take the STAR test because they have to pass it in reading and math in order to qualify for promotion. Well, that has been waived for them. They will still take the test. All students currently will still take the STAR test in Texas, though. The test has not been waived. So as you know, that's why, you know, we want to get our kids engaged and invested in learning so that they can be prepared and be successful, but it has not been waived overall in our state, not at this time.
I also have a question in the chat that Jason Moore wants to know if he can have a copy of your PowerPoint for the Salvation Army Beaumont Boys and Girls Club.
Yes, if I can, maybe I can send it to Jackie. If I can send it to Jackie and she can send it out to
Okay.
anyone, if that's appropriate, because I do have it ready to go.
Well, thank you so much for updating us on all that's going on. And I really liked what you said as far as just offering our support to the district is really one of the best things that we can do, and just to continue to give you grace through these challenging times, because I'm sure there is something new almost every minute of every day. But we thank you so much for joining us and speaking with us today, and we will be making a contribution to the Rotary International Foundation in your name in the area of education. So thank you so much, Dr. Allen.
Thank you.
Next week, our speaker is going to be Amanda Yarbrough, the Executive Director at the Beaumont Children's Museum, and she will tell us how they're providing learning experiences for children during this time. In closing, I want to thank you all for attending the meeting today, and let's end with the four-way test of the things we think, say, or do. First, is it the truth?
The truth.
Second, is it
Is it
fair
fair
to
to
all
all
concerned? Third, will it
Will
build
it build
goodwill and better
goodwill and
friendship?
better friendship?
And fourth, will it
Will
be
Will it be
beneficial?
beneficial to all
concerned?
Have a good week. Go out and find opportunities to lead and to serve. Thank you all for joining us today.
Play some golf.
Jackie?
Yes.
Yeah. Did that survey, not survey, but that questionnaire ever go out about what